Hocus Pocus by Pegasus Rescue Brigade. Chapter 13. Clarity gently petted Honeydew's head. Honeydew, you can get up now. He's gone. Honeydew gradually stopped shivering and cautiously removed her forehead from her eyes.
Did Dinky scared him off?
She asked.
Sorta,
Dinky said, twisting her tail uncertainly.
I gotta leave anyway.
Clarity once again tried to reignite the illumination orb. At this time, it flickered back on. For a few moments, the four foals sat quietly in the hollow, wondering what to do.
We've got to tell somebody about this,
Honeydew said finally. Scuffle nodded, but Dinky looked skeptical.
Tell who?
The purple filly asked.
The king won't believe us. Bringing this out to her, Sparker, won't do a thing to stop Sunbeam. He'll just get us in more trouble.
Well, what are we supposed to do then? Scuffle asked loudly, glancing around the room in the hopes that some pony would provide a sensible answer. Notify one of the princesses, I think, Clarity cut in. Even if they can't prove Sunbeam's around, they're actually willing to listen to us. If we tell them what we saw, hopefully they can give the guards a lead on actually catching him.
Yeah, hasn't done a lot of good so far,
Dinky pointed out.
Nobody's seen any evidence of Sunbeam at all until just now.
It's better than nothing, Clarity countered. Let's just leave a note for Princess Luna or something, and then disappear to Winchester for a week, and hope the princesses can take care of it while we're safely relaxing far, far away. Yeah, about that, Scuffle said, tail sagging a bit. In light of what just happened, I was thinking maybe, Clarity smirked. What? You would rather come with us than stay here in a nearly empty school all week with a dark magic user sneaking around? Scuffle straightened up. Ha! No way! I think I'd better just come along for protection. These are dangerous times, right? You're gonna need a big, strong colt like me hanging around. Just in case Sunbeam's got, agents in, Winchester or something. Clarity and Dinky exchanged a mirthful glance. Okay, Mr. Big, Strong Scuffle, you can come along. Ha ha ha! Clarity laughed. Scuffle tried not to appear too excited, but his relief was obvious. All right, count me in, he announced. That's okay with you, right, Honeydew?
I'm not the boss of you,
Honeydew mumbled, looking at the floor.
You can go where you want.
Okay. Scuffle replied awkwardly. Let's get inside. It's almost curfew, and I don't want to be out here after dark with that freak hanging out nearby.
Agreed,
Dinky said, leading the group out of the hollow. She looked around nervously, assured herself that Sunbeam was no longer nearby, and quickly made her way through the brush back towards the castle, with the others following closely behind.
I just realized,
Dinky said, coming to a sudden stop.
That eerie feeling right before Sunbeam arrived? I felt it before. It's not Nestor who's been watching me with the forest. Sunbeam's been watching me all year.
I never could have quite believed myself Nestor was the culprit, Clarity admitted. When he got off probation, you should talk to him about that. Dinky nodded.
But, something else isn't adding up here,
she said quietly.
Even if Sunbeam really does have a backup plan, and he thinks he can still use me to enact it somehow, why did he go to reveal himself to you three? I don't know, but I wish he hadn't.
Honeydew whined, buttoning her ears against her head.
Now he knows who we are, and we know who he is. Maybe we're also part of his grand plan somehow.
Maybe he's just being overconfident, Clarity suggested. He knows that the Dean and Sparkler won't believe a word we say, and he has been doing an awfully good job of avoiding the guards searching for him, even though they've been using surveillance spells that should have detected him by now.
Either way, the fact that he seems so sure of himself is only putting me even more on edge,
Dinky admitted.
What do you think he's up to, Scuffle?
There was a reply.
Scuffle?
Dinky turned around, but the colt that had been following along the rear of the group had vanished.
Where did he go?
Honeydew suffered, looking wildly in all directions.
You don't think Sunbeam's got him, do you?
Calm down, Honeydew, Clarity said soothingly. I bet he just went to a different entrance to the castle. Probably the one that's closer to the ramp leading to his residence tower. I'm sure we didn't notice because we were having a discussion.
Besides, Sunbeam doesn't have any reason to be interested in Scuffle, does he?
The
Scuffle's never used any dark magic after all.
Come on, we don't have any time to waste. Let's get inside before curfew, or we're all going to be in hot water. Under the last light of the setting sun, the three fillies hurried inside. Scuffle tasted dirt. Disoriented, he tried to lift his head, but found it forced back into the ground by a large hoof. Huh, man, did you see that? A voice asked. He just dropped when you hit him. Probably knocked a couple screws loose. None of them never saw it coming either. Another voice laughed. Those fillies just kept on walking. They never heard a thing. Scuffle's brain, though still reeling from the heavy blow, was able to recognize the voices. He growled. Scorch! Get off me! He tried to say, but his words were muffled by the ground. Oh, what's wrong, Scuff? Uncomfortable? Scorch sneered, continuing to hold Scuffle's head to the ground. I gotta admit, bro, you've been doing pretty good, Frosty said, pacing slowly around to the front of Scuffle's body so the colt could hear him better. You've been sticking to groups, crowded areas, and with those wards all pressed to put up around your room, I was beginning to think we'd never get a second alone to chat. So, did I knock some sense into you yet? Scorch chuckled, before dropping to a low growl. Or are you still planning to run off and play dolls with those fillies you've been hanging out with? None of your business! Scuffle managed to force his head up for a few seconds. Now get your Celestia damned hoof off of my head! Ooh, what language. Frosty mocked. Sounds like some pony needs a timeout. Keep holding them, Scorch. I'll take care of the rest. Scuffle struggled, but his brother's strength was more than enough to hold him down. Frosty tried it off, and returned a moment later with a long vine from the forest. With a few moments of magical dexterity, he made sure Scuffle was tightly bound. There we go. They'll hold him until he learns to watch his mouth. Frosty laughed. Scorch's horn lit up. Scuffle gasped, felt himself rolling. He tumbled to the shade of the trees before coming to stop, ruffling against the gnarled bark. There, that was like a good spot, Scorch said, admiring his handiwork. Shall we leave him there? That's the plan, Frosty announced. Enjoy your night in the forest, Scuff. We'll come back tomorrow morning and let you out before we hop on the train and get away from this stupid place. If we can find the time, that is. The twins laughed. Ignoring Scuffle's yells, they trotted out towards the castle. Within moments, they were out of earshot. Well, horse apples! Now what? Scuffle thought to himself, fastening fruitlessly against the tightly wrapped vine. The ends are tucked in so tightly, I can't get them loose, even with magic. I'm going to be stuck here all night. He saw, with no pony but Sunbeam to keep me company. The last light disappeared, plunging the forest into near total darkness. A cricket chirped loudly near Scuffle's ears, causing him to twist in surprise. A half hour passed, and Scuffle tried rolling around between the roots and nuzzling himself against a tree, but nothing helped. Defeated, the colt sighed and took a rest. Nothing left to do but wait until some pony finds me, he thought bitterly. Guess I'll try and get some sleep. Scuffle had only closed his eyes for a second, when the sound of movement within the bush caused him to pop open again. Tensing, the restrained colt craned his neck to surround the sound. That better not be you, Sunbeam, he warned. Dinky's gone! Go away! The wrestling continued for a moment. Then a small orange creature that was definitely not Sunbeam emerged from the bushes. Scuffle breathed a long sigh. Oh, no trouble, such to you, he said as the fox came over to sniff him curiously. At least that's one friendly face looking around this forest. Trouble blinked and began to wander around a tree. Scuffle watched him for a moment. The colt's ears remained alert for the sound of any other unexpected visitors. Trouble, I don't suppose you could help me out? He asked sulkily. I don't want to be trapped here all night. As expected, Trouble showed no sign of understanding. He ambled over and sat down next to the bound pony. Scuffle made a tearing muscle in his teeth. Come on! Like this! If you can dust through one fight, I can do the rest of magic! Scuffle caught his head. Terrible caught his head as Scuffle continued to open and close his jaw. Then, to the colt's great surprise, the fox took a portion of the vine between his teeth and nipped cleanly through it. Awesome! Scuffle cried, grabbing the frayed end with magic and rapidly unwinding the vine. Good boy, Trouble. You're a smarter critter than I thought. The colt stood up and stretched his cramped legs. I don't suppose you have any other bright ideas, he asked Trouble. It's past curfew. If I try to go inside now, the guards will catch me, and I'll be in hot water for sure. Trouble gazed at Scuffle for a few more minutes, then turned and wandered away into the trees. Scuffle sighed. Well, that was a bust. If only there was some unguarded entrance to the castle, I might be able to sneak in instead of camping out here in the woods. Scuffle blinked and knocked himself on the noggin with a hoof. Duh, there is a way! Keeping a sharp eye out for any movement, Scuffle cautiously made his way deeper into the blanketing darkness of the forest. Even with the light of his horn, it took a few minutes to find the entrance to the hideout. The colt parted the roots and slid down the tunnel. And then, with a combination of levitation spell and powerful pull of his forehost, he yanked back the huge boulder covering the concealed drainage shaft. Time to find out where this old tunnel really goes. 10 minutes later, Scuffle found himself on the vertical portion of the drain shaft. He quickly initiated his gravity cancellation spell and tried briskly against the wall, up until he was just inches from the metal drain cover. Alright, all I have to do is get this cover off, and I'm home free. Scuffle was unable to apply any force in his current gravity state, so he quickly modified his spell to reverse gravity completely, allowing him to stand on the underside of the drain cover. He pushed with all his might, but the cover, slightly rusted though it was far too strong. I'm going to have to try to use one of those spells Scorching Frosty could do, he realized. I can't do anything with elemental magic. But maybe I could pull off a Focus Force spell or something. Scuffle modified his gravity again and returned to the wall. He crouched against the stones and squeezed his eyes shut as he mustered up the strongest burst of energy he could. There was a flash, and a ball of energy launched from his horn and hit the drain cover. It rattled loudly but did not budge. Scuffle swore under his breath. I'm not letting a stupid drain cover be the only thing that keeps me from getting away unpunished tonight, he announced, as if expecting the metal plate to be intimidated. The colt focused his magic again. The blue light casting shadows all throughout the shaft. With a grunt, he swung his head for extra oomph and let loose a still stronger spell. There was an ear-splitting clang as the energy collided with the cover, wrenching the bolts free and sending hurling into the air. It clattered to the stone floor a moment later, creating quite a racket. Ha! Scuffle laughed as he clambered up into the basement and restored his gravity to normal. Take that! I may not be an expert on attack spells, but I'm more than good enough to take on a silly "Who's down there?" A harsh, familiar voice called up from a nearby staircase. You know the cellar's off limits! Scuffle froze. Horse apples! Is that Sparkler? Of all the rotten luck. Footsteps sounded on the staircase, so Scuffle did the only thing he could think of on such short notice. He reversed his gravity again. He gasped as the ceiling came flying towards him, but there was no time to prepare for the impact. The colt smashed against the stone ceiling and bit down his tongue to stifle a pained cry. Sparkler appeared in the doorway a moment later. He glanced around the room and immediately noticed the dislodged drain cover. Scuffle watched from the ceiling as the overseer moved to investigate the opening. Though it was too small for her to climb down, she did stick her head into the darkness. Seeing his chance, Scuffle made his way silently across the ceiling. The top of the door frame was far too below his position, however, meaning he had to return to the floor before he could escape up the stairs. Restoring his gravity much more carefully this time, he slowly sank back to the floor. Glancing at Sparkle for a second, assured she was still occupied, then bolted up the stairs. Sparkle lifted her head out the drain immediately. I hear that! Get back here or you're in big trouble! Scuffle panted hard as he ran up the long stone staircase. He needed some place to hide, or all the trouble he had gone through breaking back into the castle would be for nothing. A moment later, he burst through the trap door at the top of the stairs and into a familiar room. The residence tower! Yes! Wasting no time, the colt turned and dashed up the carpeted stairs, still aware of the sound of Sparkle's hooves pounding along behind him. Several stories up, he spied a bedroom with a door slightly ajar and stove inside. He wasn't sure which ponies lived here, but it was obvious by the darkness they were asleep. The space beneath one of the beds would make an excellent obstruction to hide under until Sparkler disappeared. Scuffle slipped beneath the bed and watched smugly as Sparkler's hooves continued past the room and down the hall. Piece of cake, he thought smugly. After a few seconds, the triumphant smirk on his face was replaced with confusion. Hang on. What's Sparkler doing in the residence tower in the first place? She's a filly. She should be able to get past the barrier. Realization started to dawn on the coat. He grimaced. Unless there was no magic barrier over the drain, in which case, maybe it's not Sparkler who's in the wrong residence tower. Almost fearfully, Scuffle crept out from beneath the bed and struggled to see the darkness. There were ponies in both of the bunks and in the single bed, but the lack of light made them impossible to identify. Scuffle crept closer to the biggest bed, and allowed just a tiny glimmer of light to shine from his horn. A pinky green filly he all knew too well, while they were asleep, it shifted beneath the covers, turning away from the light. Oh, Celestia, no! Scuffle, what are you complaining? You are in the filly's dorm. Dude, this is it. This is your end with your brothers. Go to all the teenage fillies. This is towers. Find all the hot, beautiful mares and steal their panties. Then, when the week is over, come back to your brother's dorm and present to yourself the fact that you've stolen many women's panties and that you have owned them. They will regale you as king of the panty raids, and they will sorry, Trixie, go. Dinky felt a pair of forehoofs shaking her. She struggled to open her sleep-filled eyes and realized it was just after dawn. Blinky, she turned her hair to peer up at Honeydew.
Honeydew, it's so early. I know,
Honeydew replied in a strained whisper.
You have to get up, though, right now.
Dinky used a bit of magic to yank the blanket over her head.
No, I don't. I know we have to catch the train to Winchester today, but it doesn't leave for hours yet. It's not that,
Honeydew insisted, the whisper becoming more urgent as he shook Dinky even harder.
Please, get up right now. It's an emergency.
Dinky grudgingly pushed the blanket off and got to her host.
All right, what is it?
She mumbled, rubbing her eyes.
We have an intruder.
Honeydew squeaked. Her ears flattened, and tail tugged as she was trying to shrink until she was out of sight. Dinky stared blankly at her friend.
A what? Just look.
Honeydew insisted, pointing towards the window. Dinky's mind had not quite kicked into gear yet, but the last of the sleep was shaken from it pretty quickly when she looked where Honeydew was pointing. A brown colt was curled up on the rug in front of the window bench, snoring softly.
Scuffle?
Dinky shrieked, backpedaling so fast she nearly tripped over her own tail.
Quiet,
Honeydew urged, covering Dussel's muzzle with a hoof.
Don't wake anybody else up, or we'll be in trouble.
What about Scuffle? Gardy asked, sleepily from her bunk.
He's here.
Dinky stammered, pulling Honeydew's smooth out her snout. Scuffle woke up and snorted. Whoa! Who's calling me? Clarity gasped softly and leapt out for the bunk to join her friends. But how? She asked. The tower's got a protective enchantment around it. Scuffle squinted at the early morning sunlight. Oh, right, he mumbled. I forgot I wound up here last night. I guess I owe you three an explanation.
You think?
Dinky asked, giving one of her ears an eerie scritch.
How did you even get into the Phillies tower in the first place? Why were you sleeping in our bedroom?
Whoa, calm down. I can explain, Scuffle said quickly, jumping to his hoofs and looking nervously between the three angry fillies. My brothers caught me last night and tied me up into the forest. By the time I got free, it was way past curfew, so I decided to sneak back into the castle through that old tunnel we found in the hideout.
That was clever, actually,
Clarity admitted, nodding, causing her tangle mane to bounce.
I never stopped to think about it, but that might be the one entrance to the castle, not watched by guards.
It was a good idea, Scuffle mumbled. Until I found out that the drain led to the basement of the Philly's residence tower. Sparkler heard me break in, so I ran to an open bedroom. I couldn't escape with her on patrol, so I stuck it out here and... I guess it does off.
Well, now what are we supposed to do?
Dinky asked, giving her tail a few nervous flicks.
If anybody finds Scuffle in here, we'll be in a lot of trouble.
Maybe we can just sneak him out if we hurry, Granny said quickly. After all, it's the crack of dawn. No pony except Honeydew gets up at this ungodly hour.
Sparkler does,
Honeydew mumbled, hiding behind the still ungroomed maid, as if he was ashamed to bear the bad news.
I've been downstairs in the early mornings. She's usually already up and about.
Dinky stamped a hoof.
Well, how do we smuggle Scuffle out here then? It's not like we can just march down the stairs and out the front door. Even if Sparkler didn't know Scuffle personally, it's not easy enough to spot a cult among a bunch of fillies.
Totally true, Scuffle said smirkly. You have to be blind to mistake this cult for a filly. Dinky rolled her eyes, but Clarity's expression became intrigued.
Mistake him for a filly,
the gray filly repeated, smiling.
Girls, I think I might just know how to get Scuffle out of here after all. I, for one, think that this is a stupid idea,
Scuffle said, circling him uncomfortably as Dinky and Clarity circled him like sharks.
And I, for one, don't care,
Clarity replied, giving Scuffle's flank a playful poke as he tried by.
We can't possibly sneak a cult out of the tower without getting caught, but we can sneak a filly out. Or at least somebody disguised as a filly,
Dinky added, smirking devilishly. I told you a disguise won't do any good, Scuffle argued, sounding more nervous and frustrated. I don't exactly have the figure of a filly, if you haven't noticed. I'm bigger than all of you.
Oh, just relax, you big cur-eye baby,
Clarity said, giving Scuffle a few humiliating pats on the head.
You're forgetting that we have magic on our side. I can't modify your shape, but I can probably forge an illusion that can fake it well enough, provided we move quickly and don't give any pony a good look.
Scuffle rocked nervously. But, you can't even do an illusion complicated enough to get the little details right, can you? He asked. Body shape is one thing. But if you try to change, say, my main style of an illusion, it's going to look like a refracted mess of a broken spell. No offense.
You're right, Dinky admitted. Neither of us can pull that off.
Exactly, Scuffle cheered. I guess we better start thinking of another...
But,
Dinky cut in, grinning.
We don't need to use an illusion for that. Honeydew is perfectly capable of giving you a proper filly's grooming. I am,
squeaked Honeydew, who had been sitting by herself on the side of the room, furthest from Scuffle. Well, what? Scuffle stuttered. Look, girls, this is a bad idea. You're not seriously going to disguise me as a filly.
If you have a better idea for getting out of here, we'd love to hear it, Dinky said. Otherwise, sit still so we can get started before the rest of the tower wakes up.
Scuffle groaned, ears and tail drooping. He sunk into the carpet and waited.
But, you don't really need my help, do you?
Honeydew asked, taking a few steps closer to her friends.
Yes, we do. I mean, have you seen Clarity and me? We both just kind of let our manes and tails lay in their natural style. You're the only one with grooming experience to make a colt's mane look like a filly's one. But,
Honeydew tried to reply.
He's in the same boat as we are, Clarity said. Honeydew, I know how you feel, but please, we can't do this without your help.
Honeydew hesitated. She glanced at Chance and Scuffle, met her gaze for the first time in weeks.
Fine, she said in defeat. I'll go get my supplies.
Honeydew disappeared into the washroom and returned a moment later with a little box of grooming supplies.
I'll work on his mane while Cardi does his illusions.
See now, sounding slightly more confident.
Dinky, I know he doesn't have much of a tail to work with, but just take one of the brushes and smooth it out. See if you can make it arc a bit, but come to a point. That's about best we can do with, I think.
The three fillies got right to work. Dinky had the easiest job, so she watched her friends work as she used her magic to run the bus through Scuffle's stubby tail. Scuffle remained quiet as he allowed himself to be subjected to the filly's efforts. Dinky had expected him to be sulking, but instead, the colt seemed to be watching Honeydew with marked curiosity as he shuffled through her supplies and made adjustments to his mane. So, you're an expert at this, huh? He asked finally.
Not really,
Honeydew answered curtly. Not taking her eyes off the brush, she was tugging through Scuffle's messy mane. Well, you've got to have some skill, Scuffle commented. I've never seen you with your mane down like this. It must take a lot of work to bundle it all up the way you usually have it.
Never seen me with my...
Honeydew started, before her look of confusion turned to one peg.
Oh, I mean, it's down. I'm so sorry. I should, take care of that.
Why? Scuffle asked. Looks fine how it is. Nice change of pace, actually. Honeydew turned away.
Sorry, I know it's not a big deal here, she mumbled. At home, fillies are always taught to keep their hair tied except when they're asleep. It's considered kind of indecent not to, I think. Most of Equestria is not like that, but it's still a little,
She trailed off.
It doesn't matter, she said finally. We've got work to do.
Dinky and Clarity both smiled as Honeydew picked up the brush again and returned to her task. Oh, this toy shipping is breaking my little heart! Oh! Ow, ow, ow! By the time the trio had finished with Scuffle's makeover, the sun had finally climbed over the horizon. There were sounds in the adjacent rooms of students talking and packing for the impending week off. Are you three done yet? Scuffle whined.
Just one more quick adjustment,
Honeydew mumbled, stretching her hairband with magic and setting to work on one final, unruly bit of Scuffle's mane. Dinky, who had long since finished to work on Scuffle's mane tail, sat back and grinned at the now unrecognizable pony before her. Clarity's illusions worked wonders. In reality, Scuffle's size hadn't changed at all, but the illusion made his figure appear almost as delicate as Honeydew's. His snout was equally modified, with the original one replaced with the small, rounded snout of a filly. Even his colors changed thanks to Clarity's spells. Brown coat turned white with just a faint hint of blue, like newly frozen ice, and his mane was now the same shade pale of pink as Honeydew's coat. His cutie mark had been replaced with the most girly thing Clarity could think of, a lacy doily. Hey! You're saying my doily cutie mark is girly? I like to think I'm manly! Man, table setter is a little miffed. Honeydew's work had an impact as well. She somehow managed to tame Scuffle's wild mane, and though it wasn't long enough to be put into ponytails or braids, she had succeeded in giving it a smooth, slick appearance, with straight bangs in the front and a small bun in the back. She even took a moment to apply some makeup to make his eyelashes look longer and thicker. Combined with the simple changes Dinky had made to the colt's tail, there was basically no evidence to the pony standing before them was in fact a colt and not a very well-groomed filly. And one last change, Clarity said, casting a spell that switched Scuffle's eye color from slate blue to dazzling yellow-orange. There, no pony could possibly tell that that's Scuffle. Let me see, Scuffle insisted, turning a circle and scanning the room in a mirror. Dinky bit her lip, trying not to laugh as she levitated in the mirror from her grooming kit. Scuffle took one look and his mouth dropped open. He started. I know it's a little over-the-top girly. Clarity admitted, stifling a giggle. I just wanted to make sure no pony could possibly suspect you were really a colt. Scuffle responded by turning around and looking over his shoulder smugly, as he wagged his deceptively dainty rump. Who cares about that? I am smoking hot! He grinned as Dinky and Clarity finally lost their composure and burst out laughing so hard They had to clutch bedposts for support. Honeydew blushed profusely as he tried to hide her own smile.
Oh, all right,
Dinky managed, as soon as he could speak again.
No more wasting time. Let's just get outside as nonchalantly as possible. With any luck, nobody will even notice anything out of the ordinary.
Just stay quiet, Clarity warned. Your voice is the only thing we can't change. Don't let it give you away. Got it, Scuffle said. Let's go. He stepped aside, allowing the 3 fillies to lead the way out of the room. All 4 of them made their way down the flight after flight of steps. Scuffle caught the eyes of a few fillies, each of whom paused for an instant, looking confused. Scuffle, wisely, didn't make eye contact, and the onlookers decided not to question the appearance of an unexpected filly. It only took about a minute to get to the base of the tower, but to Dinky it felt like gazes, so he spent it even longer to Scuffle. The colt was trying his best to take the swagger out of his step for once, as he slunk behind the fillies. The lounge area was busy. A number of fillies sat their luggage near the stairs, creating a mountain of bags, not unlike the one that had stood there the night the new term began. Sparker stood near the exit, holding a clipboard and an aura. She's guarding the door, Clarity whispered. Just act natural. The 4 ponies made their way across the room. Sparker, busy taking the names off the clipboard, didn't notice them until they were almost right in front of her. You have to sign out before you leave for break, she said, not looking up from her checklist.
We know, Dinky replied. We're just going to breakfast. We'll be back to get our bags a little later.
Sparker nodded. All right, just... She stopped and looked up from her clipboard, confused. Hang on. Who's this? Dinky swallowed hard as Sparker turned her gaze to Scuffle. The colt looked to his friends desperately.
Oh, her?
Dinky asked in a panic, realizing that they had completely forgotten to create a false identity for Scuffle.
She's, my sister,
Honeydew announced, much surprised at the rest of the falls.
Her name is Rosie Lace. She came in on our last night's train to help me with my stuff today.
Sparker scowled. Why wasn't I informed? Non-students that want to stay tonight need to be signed in with an overseer.
Or a professor,
Honeydew said calmly.
Professor Chestnut knows Rosie is here.
The overseer snorted. Is this true, Rosie? Scuffle nodded, very gently, trying his best not to let the elusive falter, while Sparker was watching. Fine, then, Sparker huffed. I would have preferred you had told me when she had arrived, but whatever. I'm too busy today to worry about it. Sparker waved a hoof dismissively, turned her back to the clipboard. The 4 ponies scurried outside and quickly made their way to their relative privacy behind the tower. Where did that come from? Scuffle asked, his white eyes expressive, only exaggerated by the makeup. You were so sure of yourself. I would have believed you if I wasn't the subject of a lie. Honeydew blessed.
I don't know. We just needed an excuse, so I just... It wasn't a perfect lie either. Speaking of which, can someone lend me a quill and a sheet of paper? I need to send a note to Professor Chestnut.
Clarity gave Honeydew the requested items, then led her horn and removed the elusive surrounding Scuffle. Dinky giggled. The poor colt now looked like he had always did, but with a feminine mane style and a lot of makeup. Good luck getting back into the coast tower looking like that, Clarity said, smirking. As Scuffle frantically ruffled his mane and rubbed the make off his face, Honeydew finished writing the note. Then he walked to the edge of the plateau and gave a series of sharp whistles.
What was that for? Dinky asked. Just making sure this note gets to Professor Chestnut before Sparker does,
Honeydew said. Dinky's ears drooped.
Yeah, doesn't answer my question at all.
Honeydew was about to say more, but Dinky's question quickly offered itself. A bright green bird shot out of the sky and perched at a strange angle on Honeydew's horn. You cold? Cornelius asked.
Yes,
Honeydew said, lifting the roll of paper to the bird's beak.
Can you deliver this to Professor Chestnut, please?
What's it for me? The bird asked.
How about a nice little bowl of birdseed next time I drop by to do research with the professor?
Deal! Cornelius snatched up the paper and took off.
There, now everything's taken care of,
Honeydew said, before turning and giving Scuffle a serious stare.
Now, please don't ever break into our tower again, Scuffle.
You don't have to tell me twice, Scuffle announced as he cantered off. Thanks for the help. I gotta go pack my stuff. See you girls on the train!
We should probably get packing too,
Dinky pointed out. Not till after breakfast, Clarity argued. Dinky laughed.
Oh, fine. Let's go.
Relieved to escape the skanky situation, the three friends cantered off to the castle. After the mishap with Scuffle, the rest of the morning went surprisingly smooth. Dinky took a short detour to Princess Luna's office after breakfast. As expected, the princess herself wasn't around, but Dinky left her a note regarding Sunbeam's latest appearance. By late morning, the trio had packed their bags for vacation. The train leaves at noon, Sparkler said, as the girls trotted by with their bags in tow. Make sure you don't miss it, or you'll be staying here during break. With no further agenda, Dinky and her friends made their way to the station a little early.
So, how far is Winchester anyway?
The pearlful filly asked her friend. Clarity chuckled. Ha ha ha! Well, it's certainly not just a few hours away like Ponyville, she said. The train leaves here at noon, so we'll probably be arriving in Winchester at about 9.
9 hours?
Honeydew asked.
That's not so bad.
Clarity shook her head. Nuh-uh. I mean 9 tomorrow morning.
Oh.
Honeydew said, ears drooping a bit.
That's quite a bit longer. Let us sleep on the train,
Dinky said, shrugging.
I'm sure more than half of the ponies will already got enough for the train by the time night falls.
All right, as long as I don't have to sit with Scuffle. Dinky laughed.
Don't worry, you two can sit together. I'll sit with Scuffle across the aisle.
Did I hear my name? Scuffle came galloping along the fillies, oblivious to the other colts ducking out of the way as his levitating luggage haphazardly flew in the air behind him. Dinky noticed he managed to do a surprisingly good job restoring his appearance exactly as it was before his makeover. He silently wondered if Scuffle had secretly spent a lot of time on his appearance, specifically to make it look like he spent no time at all. Oh look, it's Rosie, Clarity teased. Did you remember to pack up all your makeup and hairbrushes? You know what the sad part of it all is? Honeydew actually has a brother. Scuffle flicked his tail indignantly. Yeah, go ahead and laugh. You know, this whole entire thing is so much more funny when you think of Broho's Social and when you think that maybe Scuffle should have gone to Big Bag for cross-dressing lessons. At least we made it out there without getting caught. Now, let's get on the train so we can focus spending some time away from this place. Dinky gestured towards the cabin door with a forehoof.
Ladies first, Rosie.
She snickered. Scuffle narrowed his eyes at the moment, but then he smirked and hopped into the train, with the fillies following close behind. As promised, Dinky sat with Scuffle for the first part of the train ride home. Honeydew and Clarity sat just across the aisle, so even on the noisy train they were able to hold a conversation with their friends. Between discussions of recent events at school, planning out the upcoming days of break, it seemed to take no time at all for the train to make it to Ponyville. Dinky gazed out the windows as the train came to a stop in the familiar station. So, this is where you live, huh? Scuffle asked, standing on his hind legs to get a better view of the window. We don't have any little towns like this out where I live. It's more urban.
Where are you from anyway?
Dinky asked. Philadelphia, Scuffle replied, slipping back down into his seat. It's way out in eastern Equestria. To get there, you have to get off the Academy train from another town south of here and board a separate one. It makes travel kind of a hassle, so I just stay at school most of the time. He looked outside again. Doesn't look like a bad place to live, though. It's probably peaceful, at least. Dinky chuckled.
Trust me, despite how it looks, Ponyville sees its fair share of excitement.
Scuffle grinned. You could probably say that about any place in Equestria, though. Considering the fact that we live in a place where hydras and manticores exist, not really surprised. A few more minutes passed before the train finally sprang into motion and continued its journey south. At each stop, the train became emptier. By the time dusk arrived, no pony remained in Dinky's carriage, except for the four friends, with each of them able to take a pair of seats to themselves. It was easy to spread out and get some sleep once night fell. At least, it should have been. Dinky tried to get some sleep, but a combination of excitement about the upcoming trip and concern about races going on at the academy left her so distracted that she seemed to barely slip into a light doze before the jarring of the train woke her once again. After an intermediate amount of time, the restless filly sat up and quickly stepped into the aisle of the dim train car. She smiled at Clarity, passed down a ridiculous position on the seat across from her, snoring as usual. Scuffle didn't look much better, slumped against the wall of the carriage. He was drooling slightly. When Dinky turned to look at Honeydew's seat, however, she was surprised to find her friend awake. The pink filly lay there, facing away from the aisle, staring out at the moon and rubbing the knots on her horn, as she often did when she was lost in thought.
Can't sleep?
Dinky whispered, looking up next to her friend.
Not really,
Honeydew admitted.
I've never been a heavy sleeper like Clarity, though.
Dinky gave an amused snort.
This train could drive right off a cliff if Clarity couldn't wake up,
she said. Honeydew smiled faintly, but then turned back to the window and became pensive once again.
Dinky, I'm worried about this vacation,
she admitted, flattening her ears back nervously.
We're all going to be together for most of the time. It's been weeks since Scuffle and I really started talking. I tried to make it up for it a little by helping you escape the tower this morning, but I think we're finally going to have to address that one way or the other.
Dinky nuzzled her friend gently.
Is that such a bad thing? She asked quietly. I can tell you and Scuffle are both sick of trying to ignore one another. That's true, Honeydew admitted. But why is he so...
She trailed off. Dinky pressed for more.
Forget it. I'm not going to bother you with it. But I will talk to Scuffle this week, whether I want to or not.
Dinky nodded slowly.
Well, if you need some more support, I'm here for you,
she said, meeting the filly's gaze.
But for now, we should probably try to get some sleep. We'll be in Winchester for a few hours.
Honeydew rolled over, so was she facing away from the windows.
I guess so. Night, Dinky. Night.
Dinky replied as she returned to her own seat. Taking her own advice, she tried to push buzzing thoughts aside for a bit, finally slipped into a deeper sleep. The next time Dinky's eyes fluttered open, she found herself staring into a pair of cinnamon ones, hovering an inch from her own.
Woo!
The filly flailed and toppled off the seat. Clarity backed up, laughing. Ha ha ha! Wake up, sleepyhead. We're almost there. Dinky blinked at the bright light and sat up. The train was making its way down a winding track, between dozens of grassy hills, dotting a wide, rolling plain. A small town was just starting to come into view on the left. Finally, Scuffle said, as he splayed out across the seat and stretched his legs. I thought we'd never get there. The train's long journey finally came to an end, as it pulled to the station not unlike Ponyville's. Clarity was the first to hop down into the bright morning sunlight, and her other friends followed close after. Dinky finally got her first look at her best friend's hometown. The station was at the end of a long main roadway, which bisected the little village. Quaint wooded houses, much like the ones Dinky was used to seeing in Ponyville, lined either side of the street all the way down to the end. The most remarkable thing, however, was not the town itself, but what lay behind it. Situated entirely on a hillside, Winchester was the last settlement before the border of Equestria. Beyond it was nothing but the sea, a blue expanse that stretched on far beyond the horizon.
Wow,
Honeydew breathed.
I've never seen the sea before.
Clarity nodded proudly. Yep, Winchester is one of the only coastal towns in all of Equestria. Which reminds me, we all have to go down to the beach later. The water should be pretty warm this time of year. She glanced at the mountains bags behind them. But first things first, we need to head home and to drop off most of our stuff. Mom will be expecting us.
Either way,
Dinky said. Cheerfully, Clarity detected the band of foals to her house about halfway between the station and the ocean. She posted open the door and motioned for her friends to follow. The house immediately appeared inviting, with comfortable-looking furniture and wide windows that let in lots of light. A skinny green unicorn mare with an orange mane trotted from the kitchen when the girls entered. She smiled broadly when she saw them. Mom! Clarity cried as she danced forward and hugged the mare. Boy, it feels like I haven't seen you in forever! I've missed you and Lucian so much. Oh, I miss you too, Clarity's mother replied, patting her daughter on the head. Are these friends you've been writing to me about? Yeah, Clarity responded, running back to her friends. These are my roommates, Dinky and Honeydew. We also brought Scuffle, like I said in my letter yesterday. Well, I'm just tickled pink to finally meet you three, Clarity's mother cooed. There are some snacks in the kitchen for the four of you. Help yourselves. The mare stepped aside as the foals ran out to the kitchen. A bowl of fresh fruit and a plate of still warm cookies were sitting on the table. Polly's immediately sat down and began to eat. Your mom seems very hospitable, Honeydew remarked, biting into a cookie. More than my parents would be here anyway. She was just happy to hear I made some good friends, Clarity said. She was a little worried about me when I left, of course, since Lucian wasn't around to show me the ropes. That reminds me, are we going to meet your sister? Dinky asked. Oh, sorry, dear, Clarity's mom said, trotting into the kitchen. Lucian is out of town on business. I'm afraid she might not be back in time to meet you. Clarity chuckled. It doesn't make much difference. She spends so much time in her room studying magic. She might as well not be here on some days. You know how your sister can be, Clarity's mother said. She's brilliant, but not as outgoing as you. Clarity nodded, turned back to her friends. We don't need a Lucid here anyway, she declared. Let's go put our stuff in my room, and then I'll show you guys around town. The foals grabbed a few more cookies for the road, and once again let Clarity lead the way. Oh, by the way, Clarity Small called him after him, the annual summer festival's on Saturday. Looks like you're not going to miss it after all, Clarity. Oh, that is awesome, Clarity cheered. What happens at the summer festival? I'm not going to ruin the surprise, Clarity said, giving Scuffle a great grin. Now, to wrap your stuff in my room, and let's go. We've got lots to do. You know what this chapter is, guys? You know how in most anime where there's a high school or something, there's usually at least one festival episode? That's what this is. This is the festival episode of a really good high school anime. Within 8 minutes, Dinky and her friends were back on the sunny thoroughfare through Winchester. Clarity began to lead them down the slope towards the ocean. Anyone that want to go to the beach? It's the warm day. We can go swimming. I've never been to the beach, Dinky admitted, but it feels near the center of the continent. Same for where I live, Honeydew said, nodding. You two don't know what you've been missing then, Clarity told him, her tail wagging excitedly. Come on, let's go there right now. It only took a few minutes to reach the shore. The foals walked past a line of seaside shops and stepped onto the sand. Dinky had never stopped to think about the concept of a nearly endless expanse of water surrounding the continent, and only now did she realize just how vast it was. Other foals from town laughed and yelled to one another as they played in the sand or in the waves just offshore. A wave broke on the sea line, and the froth bubbled up on the sandy slope, licking the lips of Dinky's hose. She smiled as the water slowed, then retreated back from whence it came. So, who's up for a dip? Clarity asked, trotting in place and leaving deep hoofprints in the sand. I am, Scuffle declared. It's been a long time since I've been into the ocean. I'll just sit here and get some sun, Honeydew said, lying down and stretching out into the sand. I'll show you later. Suit yourself, Scuffle said, shrugging. Come on, Dinks. Let's see who's better at jumping over the waves. You want to make a sandcastle, so I'll stay here with Honeydew, Clarity said. You two go on ahead. Scuffle nodded and thrust out into the water. Tentatively, Dinky dipped a hoof in, realizing it was quite comfortable. She charged in after Scuffle, After several pony licks, the water deepened until it was up to her neck. She kicked off and began to swim. She bobbed up and down the waves as she made her way out to Scuffle. The colt was treading water, staring back at the beach. I wonder if Honeydew decided to stay on the beach to keep away from me, he said a bit sadly as the filly approached.
Not necessarily,
Dinky said, following Scuffle's gaze.
You know, Honeydew, she likes to take things slow. Maybe she just wants to relax for a while.
Scuffle nodded as he kicked a bit harder to keep himself afloat despite the efforts of another large wave. Maybe. I still think she'd be more comfortable if I wasn't here at all, though, he admitted, ears drooping. After all, I was going to stay behind before the whole sunbeam thing happened. I must have really messed up if she gets so upset just for being near me.
Honeydew's really sensitive,
Dinky explained, swimming over to pat Scuffle's shoulder.
But she's also intelligent and rational. If you would just talk to her, I don't think it would be as hard to work it out as you think it is. Both of you clearly want to apologize.
But neither of us have the guts, Scuffle replied with a sheepish smile. Dinky smirked. She dove beneath the waves and surfaced again right in front of the goat.
Just because you're a big softy as she is,
she teased, giving Scuffle a playful boop on the nose.
Maybe little delicate rosy links wasn't as far from the truth as we thought.
Scuffle snorted in dignity. He used his magic to splash a wave of seawater over Dinky. The filly shook the water from her head and pulled out sobbing mane out of her eyes. She laughed. The Scuffle followed suit.
Don't worry, you'll figure something out,
she assured him.
Your heart's in the right place. When you finally do talk to her, or when she does you, it'll all work out. You see.
Scuffle watched the fillies on the beach. Yeah, it will. I hope. Honeydew watched as Cardi ran a hoof gingerly on the damp walls of the sandcastle. The other fillies spoke for a few minutes.
Cardi,
Honeydew said finally, swishing the sand about with a few nervous flicks of her tail.
You're, very confident, right?
Cardi looked up, surprised by the question. I guess I usually am, she asked bewildered. Why? Honeydew rolled onto her stomach and ran a hoof tip through the sand.
Because I had to end this silly little grudge between me and Scuffle, and I still have no idea how.
Are you still mad at him? Cardi asked, seizing her construction efforts for a moment.
Not really,
Honeydew sighed, idly picking up a hunk of sand with her magic, letting it fall a few grains at a time, as if in an hourglass.
I'm no better than he is right now. I'm the one who attacked him, remember?
Cardi snickered. To be fair, he did kind of deserve that. Honeydew frowned.
You're not helping,
she mumbled, disappointed.
I want to apologize, not be justified.
Clarity's grin melted away. You're right. I was trying to lighten the mood, but I guess this really isn't the time. Honeydew shifted on the warm sand.
So can you help me or not?
Clarity wrapped a bit of seaweed around a twig to make a makeshift flag, and stuck it into the turret of her castle. I'm not sure what kind of help to give, she admitted. It's obvious Scuffle doesn't like this any more than you do. The only reason you still have to worry about it is because neither of you has spoken up.
But I can't speak up,
Honeydew whined. Why?
Because this is more than about this afternoon.
Honeydew wailed.
It's everything about Scuffle. His actions, his attitude, all of it. Even if he really is on our side now, I'm still scared of him.
Honeydew stubbed her face in the sand and laid there, both ears twitching, waiting for Clarity's response. The great filly was silent for a while. Why don't you just tell him that? Honeydew looked up.
Because, well,
if you don't tell Scuffle what's bothering you, he can't do his part to stop it, Clarity pointed out. He can't do much to make amends if you never give him the chance.
But if I try to make things better, I could just as easily make them worse.
Honeydew Karen.
What if I say something that alienates him further? Or lose my temper again? Or...
A large wave suddenly crashed on the beach, destroying Clarity's sandcastle and briefly submerging Honeydew entirely. When the water receded, the filly was laying on the sand, soaked and blinking in shock. I think the ocean wants you to chill out. Ha ha ha! Clarity laughed, glancing around the mound that was a sandcastle a few moments before. You can do this. Scuffle will understand. Honeydew shook the straight seaweed out of her mane and used the forehoof to flick a tiny crab off of her nose.
I guess I have to, she mumbled. I told Dinky I would, and I suppose if I keep ignoring it, it's only going to get harder.
She glanced at Scuffle and Dinky, still playing in the waves.
I need to wait for the right moment. I just hope it comes soon.
Despite their resolve, both Honeydew and Scuffle failed to speak up that day. Or for the next few days, that matter. Again and again, it looked like the other was about to try. But each time they make eye contact only for a moment, and then hastily looked away. Clarity, luckily for all of them, refused to let the stubborn foe's unspoken conflict drive a wedge into their vacation fun. She managed to find a host of entertaining activities for them around Winchester. It was only in the lulls and excitement that Dinky found her thoughts returning to her friend's predicament. One fine afternoon in the middle of the week, the four friends went to the marketplace in the center of town for some shopping. As usual, Honeydew and Scuffle stayed far apart, keeping Dinky and Clarity between them.
Yes, it's getting a little ridiculous.
Dinky whispered to her friend as they tried.
Maybe we need to help them along somehow.
Do you have some kind of plan? Clarity whispered back.
I think so. Just follow my lead.
Dinky muttered as they approached the marketplace. For a few moments, the group stayed together, wandering in and out of the stores and around the market stalls. After a while, the four of them wound up in a bookstore. Dinky waited until Honeydew and Scuffle were not in the aisle as Clarity herself, then hastily explained the plan. A few moments later, the group gathered near the entrance to move on to the next store, but Clarity stayed behind. There are a few books over here about illusions I haven't had a chance to look at, she said. You three can keep going. I'll catch up.
Okay, try not to take too long,
Dinky said, attempting to make her terse response sound as natural as possible. I'll be quick, Clarity promised, leaving to her friends as they tried it out. Dinky led her other friends to some more stores. Clarity failed to reappear, and as soon as Honeydew spoke up,
Where is she? Do you think she can find us? I'll go back to the bookstore and check,
Dinky volunteered.
You stay right here, you two. I'll be right back.
Gotcha, Scuffle said, as he and Honeydew nodded in unison. Dinky took off, but not back to the bookstore. While she was out of sight, she ducked behind a building, where Clarity was waiting for her. Did you get them alone? Clarity asked. Dinky nodded eagerly.
It's just the two of them, standing right next to each other. Maybe they'll finally try to make up.
The filly snuck to the other side of the building, and peered cautiously around the corner and into the plaza, where Honeydew and Scuffle were standing. Both ponies were resolutely staring in opposite directions.
Nothing,
Dinky mumbled. Give them time, Clarity suggested. Eventually, one of them might open up, just to break the awkward silence. The two spies waited for several minutes. Eventually, Scuffle turned slightly, and chanced to glance in Honeydew's direction. The filly was staring at the ground, but soon she looked at him too. This time, neither pony looked away.
Hey, Scuffle,
Honeydew began.
We need to. I should,
Dinky grinned.
This is it. Any second now.
We should probably.
Oh, hello, you two. Oh, come on!
Dinky and Clarity both let out a groan as Clarity's mom, on a chance shopping trip of her own, trotted up to the foals. Honeydew, relief obvious in her face, turned to the mare. Scuffle did as well.
Come on, Honeydew, Scuffle, she greeted. Where are Clarity and Dinky? Like behind somewhere, I suppose.
Clarity sighed. It's over, she grumbled. Come on, let's go back over there. Hey, here they come now, Scuffle said, looking at the approaching fillies.
Oh, good,
Clarity's mom said.
I hope you all aren't too spending too many plates. You'll probably want to save a few for games at the festival Saturday.
Don't worry, we are, Clarity said, voice tense with a faint hint of disappointment. But thanks for the reminder, Mom.
No problem,
Clarity's mom replied, either not noticing or not acknowledging her daughter's tone.
I just saw your friends here on my way to get some fresh tomatoes for pasta sauce, and I thought I'd say hello.
Enjoy the rest of the day, you feller. The mayor trotted off, leaving the foals standing together. Scuffle turned back to Honeydew. You were saying?
Nothing,
Honeydew said quickly.
Let's go, shall we? Before you rush up to visit.
Pink Philly trotted away. Dinky and Clarity exchanged an exasperated glance and chased after their friend. Soon enough, it was Saturday morning, the last day of Midsummer Holiday, and the day of the Winchester's annual festival. The Falls, all tired from days of activity, slept in for a while. Late morning sunlight had flooded Charity's bedroom by the time Dinky awoke. Finding the room deserted, she trotted downstairs to find Clarity, Honeydew, and Scuffle were already seated, watching hungrily as Clarity's mom levitated a plate of grass pancakes to the table. Hi, Dinky, Clarity called, waving. The festival starts in about an hour. You ready?
Of course,
Dinky said, sitting down.
What's the festival like anyway?
It's just a fair to celebrate the middle of summer. Clarity somehow managed to explain through a mouthful of pancake. There are shops and games and live shows, and even fireworks once it gets dark. Just don't try to stay out too late, Clarity's mom recommended. You'll need to catch the train tomorrow to be back at the academy by the next day. So, come home after the fireworks show. We will, Clarity promised. I'm not looking forward to that train ride back, though, Scuffle mumbled. It's going to take forever to get to Canterlot.
Oh, worry about that later, Dinky scolded. At least we got one more day of fun before we have to sit through that again.
All right, Clarity agreed. Now, come on. I want to be there as soon as the festival starts. Clarity's excitement had not been unfounded. The usually quiet streets of Winchester had been transformed into a bustling amalgamation of stands and events, even more spectacular than Ponyville's county fair. Later in the afternoon, Dinky and Scuffle emerged from the carnival game tent to find Honeydew and Clarity outside, returning with snacks. Hi, Dinky, Clarity greeted, levitating a few extra treats in the Philly direction. Oh, want some cotton candy? Dinky stared at the chicory treat for a moment. Unresponsive, Clarity raised an eyebrow. Dinky!
Hi, Pip.
Oh, hi, Dinky. Want some cotton candy?
Here. Thanks, Pip.
It's nothing.
So, Pip, the rest of my friends aren't here yet. Want to walk around the fair with me for a while?
Scuffle waved a hoof in front of Dinky's face. Yo, Dinks, you okay? Dinky blinked.
Yeah,
she replied, slowly moving a hoof to the pendant resting on her chest.
Clarity just reminded me of last summer. I talked to Pip on one for the first time at a fair just like this one.
Honeydew's pendant glowed faintly and warmed up. She smiled, knowing her favorite cult, halfway across Equestria, was thinking of her.
Oh, this fair must bring back some great memories.
Honeydew cooed, ears perking up as she stared at the glowing gem on Dinky's accessory.
That's so sweet.
So it's just stuff, Scuffle said through a mouthful of cotton candy. Clarity blinked, realized half her cotton candy was gone, and glared at Scuffle. You know, if you wanted some, you could have asked, she said indignantly. Scuffle shrugged as he swallowed his sweets. I figured I better not interrupt you, he chuckled. Gotta give Phillies their space when they're going all goo-goo-eye about mushy stuff. Dinky giggled, shaking her head.
You are a hopeless romantic sometimes, you know that?
Yeah, I know, Scuffle said calmly, turning and leading the group towards the next attention. Clarity slowed her pace, falling back past Honeydew until she was next to Dinky. You think he's going to be a little more serious when he talks to Honeydew? She asked, finding her ears nervously.
He's just putting on a show,
Dinky replied comfortably.
When I talk to Scuffle in private, he can actually be pretty serious and meaningful. Hopefully, that side of him is the one we see when the time comes.
I sure hope so, Clarity mumbled. There's not much left for us to say to them. It's now in their hooves.
And those are keepable hooves,
Dinky assured her.
You'll see.
Hey, what are you two mumbling about back there? Scuffle called, glancing over his shoulder.
Nothing,
Dinky replied.
And, how about we head to the circus tent and watch the acrobat ponies?
Yeah, I mean, the flying gray suns are awesome. Again, my apologies, but I don't have that much material, considering how much I like this fic. Sounds like a plan, Scuffle said. Which way? Clarity moved to the front of the group, and the four foals set off again. The festival remained a bustling center of activity all day long. At sunset, most ponies began to make their way to the grandstand set up for the fireworks show, so Dinky was understandably concerned when Clarity led them in a different direction.
Clarity? Oh, where are we going? The bleachers are the other way.
The bleachers, Clarity laughed. Ha ha ha! Who wants to sit on cold, cramped metal benches with 1,000 other ponies anyway? I know of a much better spot for us. The four ponies trotted up a hill, almost all the way back to the train station. Clarity made a left turn and led them off the road and up the steep, grassy hill. See, this spot is much better, the great filly said, when she and her friends reached the peak of the knoll. It has a great view, soft grass, and all the room we want. Dinky looked back the way they had come and was able to see the grandstands where the other ponies had congregated. Clarity was right. From the elevated perspective, there was a great view of the open sky. Scuffle flopped down on the grass and sighed contentedly. Good on ya, Clarity, he congratulated. This is a great spot.
Agreed, Honeydew added, sitting down. This is much better than sitting in the stands.
Told you, Clarity bragged. I've been coming to this spot every year for as long as I can remember. No place in town is better. The foals waited as the last light of the sun vanished from the sky. There were a few moments of shivering silence. Then the first rocket zipped into the air and burst into a ring of color and light. The vantage point was perfect. Dinky and her friends had an excellent view of the whole show. For the next quarter hour, the ponies sat in silence, watching the fireworks.
This was a lovely week, Dinky said finally. I forgot how nice it was to get away from classes and overseer and crazy dark magic wielding foes for a while.
Clarity laughed nervously. To be fair, Dinky, that third one isn't part of Celestia's usual academy experience.
I know, right?
Dinky laughed ironically.
Lucky us, huh?
She turned towards her other friends.
And what about you two? Did you have fun?
Scuffle nodded. Sure beats sitting around in an empty school. Thanks for letting us take along, Clarity. Hi, do you agree?
Yes, thank you. Winchester's a beautiful place. I was able to relax a little, and you know how hard that is for me.
Yeah, it was relaxing, for the most part, Scuffle said. There were a couple, small things.
Some little insignificant worries.
Honeydew added. Both foals lapsed into silence. Dinky watched, breath held, as Scuffle's pupils drifted to the corners of his eyes and discreetly stared at Honeydew. The pink filly shut her eyes for a moment and chewed her lip. He sat frozen for a good 20 seconds. Dinky let one ear lowered and tilted her head, staring at her stone two friends.
So,
All at once, Honeydew and Scuffle made a move. That's it, we need to...
Alright. Can we just...
Suddenly, they were almost nose to nose. There was another second of tense silence. Then both foals backed off several paces, each looking equally shocked. Just kiss already, you two! Dinky sat down next to Clarity and waited for the rest to play out.
You first,
Honeydew mumbled. Scuffle swallowed. Look, we haven't said 2 words to each other directly in like a month. I know it made you really upset the last time we really interacted. You probably still think I'm out to get you, and Dinky and Clarity too, but I'm not! Honeydew shook her head.
You're not the only one at fault. I could have killed you with those roots if Clarity hadn't stopped me, and I owe you an apology for that, no matter what I think of you.
Scuffle flinched. Oh, that, he mumbled. Truth be told, I got over the thing with the roots pretty fast, so apology accepted. I don't want to spend time with a pony who thinks I'm a monster. It's hard on me, and it's hard on you. All 4 of us can't spend time together without a lot of tension, and that's not how it should be when we're hanging out together. It's uncomfortable and forced. Honeydew narrowed her eyes.
You tried to sell Dinky out for the sake of your own rep. Even if you had changed your mind, why should I trust you?
I did do that, Scuffle admitted. Do you know why I was thinking that way, Honeydew? Honeydew looked away.
I assumed it was because you were selfish and, they really care what happened to us. I know you keep denying it, but I keep seeing it proven true. That was just the most recent instance.
She turned away.
That's why I feel so conflicted, I guess.
She continued.
Some pony says every pony deserves a chance, that only a friend can give them that chance. But when it seems like a pony is only going to take advantage of the chance you give them and use it to cause more harm, does the rule still apply? Dinky and Clarity seem to think you won't abuse that chance, and they're the first ponies I've trusted in a long, long time.
Dinky smiled at the compliment, but Honeydew still looked miserable. Scuffle slowly approached her and looked at her shoulder warily. Can I at least try to explain myself? He asked hesitantly. Honeydew nodded, still facing away and remained silent. Scuffle walked up next to the filly, and for once she didn't retreat. Standing her ground, she turned and stared blankly at Scuffle, as if daring to justify himself. I did do everything you said, and I'll take responsibility for it, Scuffle began. But there is one thing you're wrong about. I wasn't a bully out of spite or selfishness, or because I didn't care about other ponies. Honeydew wrinkled her nose.
Then why?
Scuffle squeezed his eyes shut. Because I'm a coward.
Huh?
You heard me, Scuffle grumbled, failing to meet her gaze again. I'm a coward. A spineless colt who's too afraid to do what's right. So afraid, in fact, that I put the feelings of other ponies to save my skin. I got so used to doing that the guilt started to dull. At least until I met you three, that is. Hazy took a slow breath.
Your brothers again, I guess?
She said haltingly. Not just them, Scuffle replied. I grew up in Philly. It's a rough town, kind of the opposite of Leicester. My brothers adapted to it, and the fights and dangers that come with it. Scorch and Frosty, as you probably noticed, get in a lot of fights. Sometimes they win, other times they get up pretty bad. They tough it out, though. I go back with revenge in mind the next time. When they leave the tough streets of Philly and come to school, they're the toughest colts around, and neither of them have a problem taking advantage of that at the expense of every pony else. The colt glanced at the iron cage at his flank. I'm not the same, though, he continued, ears drooping. My blood's not boiling with fighting spirit. I'm just afraid of getting picked on by the older colts as you are. Even my special talent reflects that. I don't have a knack for spells I can use to fight. All I can do is shield my sorry rump as I scramble out of range to attack, tail tucked between my legs. Heidi's expression was difficult to read.
I see,
she said, sounding a bit skeptical.
I know you blamed your brothers for your actions before, but you're still crass and intimidating, even when they're not around.
Scuffle smiled sheepishly. Hey, I'm just playing around most of the time, he admitted. Acting tough is how I hide cowardly how I really am. It's just a habit. Heidi pouted.
You haven't noticed, Scuffle. I'm a coward too. I didn't have any more of cover of a full hood than you did, and a lot of times I feel like everybody's out to get me. Dinky and Clarity are really friendly and understanding all the time, but you're different.
Scuffle worked his jaw thoughtfully. I guess I didn't realize how much it bothered you, he admitted. Sometimes I try to lighten the mood a little, but I guess I have a special kind of humor. Dinky and Clarity think it's funny at least. Most of the time, Clarity cut in, grinning. Sometimes you're just a dork. Yeah, see? Scuffle chuckled. I'm just kidding around with you three a lot of the time. I've never meant any harm with those jokes, I swear. You three are the only real friends I've made at the academy, so I just want to hang on to that. Heidi stared off in another direction for a few moments. Eventually, she turned to meet Scuffle's face again.
All right,
she said slowly.
I'm scared to trust any pony fully, but, well, I do trust Dinky and Clarity's judgment, and I think I could believe what you say.
She paused at the grass nervously.
Besides, we've both seen what our nerves do to us. I can't begrudge you for making some bad choices when I was equally bad that day in that hideout. The last thing I ever want to do is be seen as a bully myself, even if it was to put another bully in his place. I guess sometimes it's easier to be accidentally a bad pony than I thought.
I know how you feel, Scuffle said, nodding. There was a short pause. What do you say, then? He continued, raising his ears hopefully. Can we sweep all this under the rug and start fresh? Honeydew thought it over.
Start fresh isn't the right word, she said finally. Both of us have done things we'd rather not have. And both of us need to remember that if we want to be better.
Scuffle cocked his head. Honeydew gave a shuddering sigh and continued.
I'll give you one more chance. I'll trust you enough to treat Dinky and Clarity Doo. But if you betray your trust again, we're done. Okay?
A trial run? Scuffle asked. I'll agree to that. Only if you agree to something from me. It was Honeydew's turn to tilt her head.
And what's that?
I need you to be honest, Scuffle answered. If I'm doing something that makes you uncomfortable, tell me. And if I'm making a decision that could affect you, Dinky and Clarity, I'll ask you all about it first. And if that's not okay, just tell me why and I'll reconsider. Does that sound fair? Honeydew nodded, and Scuffle gave a relieved sigh and held out a huff. So, friends?
Something like that,
Honeydew said, returning to Huff's shake. Scuffle smirked. Good enough for now, at least.
See?
Dinky said, standing up again.
I knew you two could find a way to work this out.
Honeydew admitted, pursing her lips.
I guess we should have gone to that earlier.
Scuffle smirked. Well, we are both cowards. What do you expect? To Dinky's surprise, Honeydew cracked a smile. She turned away so Scuffle couldn't comment on it. Clarity wet her horn. All right, follow me, she announced. Mom will get worried if we don't get home soon. Cast a light and let's go! Yellow, blue, and green beams joined Clarity's reddish one, and all four foals, walking together like a group of close friends for the first time all week, made their way back home. Looks like you hid your phone. Clarity's mom stirred, as the four fairly exhausted foals wandered to Clarity's kitchen. I'll take it the festival is as lively as usual. Of course! Clarity laughed. Especially since the four of us got to check it out together this year.
I guess we really should get back to bed for now, Dinky pointed out. We still have to pick our stuff tomorrow morning before the train comes.
Well, before you all turn in, there's one more surprise waiting upstairs, Clarity's mom said, giggling. Clarity raised an eyebrow. What are you up to, Mom?
Me? Nothing,
the mayor sang, turning back to the sink.
Have a good night, you fool.
Clarity led the troop upstairs, but nothing seemed out of the ordinary when they reached their bedroom. I don't get it, Scuffle announced, glancing around. What's the surprise? Clarity looked around, easily confused, but then stopped, her gaze fixed on the empty corner of the room. A nice try, she said aloud, dragging a forehuff. I don't care how good your invisibility spells get. You're not hiding from me.
Dang, I thought I had you this time,
a disembodied female voice replied.
Still as sharp as ever, Clarity.
A brilliant red light, like a neon sign, filled the room. At first, Dinky thought it was Clarity's magic, but quickly realized the color was too bright, unlike the cinnamon reds he experienced. The red ball of energy hung in the air for a moment, then split into a dozen or so pinprints of light, each of which began to trace a line through the air. It took only a few seconds for Dinky to realize they were drawing a three-dimensional outline of a pony. A moment later, they completed their task and returned to the tip of the outline mare's horn. They glowed brighter for a second, and solid color washed through the empty space between the lines. Dinky was a bit shocked when the pony finally came into view. She looked quite a lot like Clarity, with the same coat and same voluminous mane and reddish eyes. The only differences were the purple color of her mane, her stature. She was a full-grown mare. Clarity was unfazed. That was a flashy entrance.
Is that who I think it is?
Dinky asked, looking back and forth repeatedly between Clarity and the older pony. Yep, Clarity answered matter-of-factly. Dinky, Honeydew, Scuffle. This is the unicorn you've all heard so much about. My sister. Listen.